Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your normally I say sleep deprived and overly caffeinated host, but I did sleep well yesterday. So just your overly caffeinated host, Tony Cañas, just back from New York City. And today I have with me a very, very special guest, uh, the Jason Cass. Jason, first of all, thank you for joining me today. I cannot believe that I've never had you on the podcast before. Just same with David Carruthers. Like I feel guilty not having had you before.
Yeah. No, it's completely okay. It's completely okay. It happens. I guarantee you there's many others out there that I should probably be on as well, but I'm not. So that's okay. But we do know from living long enough in life that everything happens for a reason at the time it happens. So I'm happy with it.
Fantastic, and I think the reason is the same with Carruthers. Uh, that I think of myself as a carrier side guy, a carrier
Okay.
side guy that actually like I've never been licensed. I've never sold insurance. At least not successfully. I attempted to sell life at the very beginning. It didn't work. I did not sell a single policy. That's how bad it went. And then I came back on the corporate side, and that actually worked out. So since I think of myself as a carrier guy, I don't go out of my way to have you guys on the podcast. Now,
Hmm.
Chris Paradiso, he went out of his way to reach out to me years and years ago, so we kind of became friends.
Yeah.
Uh, but anyway, so for the listeners, so we're gonna start with, and by the way, we're recording on Friday, 11 a.m. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so you might as well, especially with these two characters, you might as well assume that we're at happy hour already. Uh, and even though this is my first meeting of the day, uh, 11 a.m. on Friday. Uh, we're gonna start with the reason that I invited you today, which is your agency intelligence report. So an
Uh-huh.
AI report that I believe either just came out or is going to come out soon.
Correct.
Perfect. That
So
that
it just got finished like all the edits and everything this morning. And so it is, I have the actual finished thing now in my hand. Yes.
fantastic. So I'm guessing that do you have an exact release date?
I would probably next week.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's like
okay.
the 15th or whatever. A lot of people don't know it's coming because there's a reason for it. But yes,
Perfect,
I've been
perfect.
talking about it on my
Okay.
podcast and whatever.
But by the for the listeners, by the time this comes out, we're recording on June 6th. By
Yes,
the time this comes out, it will be out, and in the show
correct.
notes, I will include the link.
Correct. Thank
Uh,
you.
Perfect. So we're gonna be starting with that on AI for insurance agents, but then we'll also talk a little bit about the rest of the 10,000 things that you're involved in.
I do.
Uh, okay, fantastic. So let's start with, and by the way, Edwardsville, Illinois, is that like State Farm area, or is that Chicago area, or like what part of
Well,
Illinois is
actually,
that?
that's very good. No, we're about 5 hours south of Chicago. We're about 2 hours south of the State Farm headquarters. So State Farm's kind of more. If you want to know where Edwardsville is, look at St. Louis on the river. I'm on the Illinois
Oh,
side.
okay,
St.
so
Louis
you're
is on the
St. Louis
Missouri
area.
side. Yep, yep.
Got it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. So we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. In this
Yeah,
case, it's the elevator
yeah.
pitch for this AI report. What is this? What got you to do it, and why should people
Yeah.
care?
Well, I call it the AI 2030 manual, and it's really kind of very simple about how I created it. I wanted to be able to tie in the importance of that the industry is changing. Okay. And everybody knows that, but agents still don't get excited and get all wound up about it like they should. And they don't understand that like we're like the boy who cried wolf, right? We've been told that the internet was going to take us out. We've been told that the social media was going to take us out. Email would take us out. The fax machine would take us out. And us independent agents are still standing here making more money than ever, right? So now we've got this new thing coming along called AI and agentic AI and bots and RPA and all these weird things that we're learning about. And we're all thinking, oh, just another one of those things. Well, I think we're wrong, and this manual is a way for me to shout from the mountaintops. Whenever I look at a source of what I like to call truth, Tony, something that agents are going to look at. So if I know for a fact from doing enough of these that an auto change is $7.50 to make in Illinois. Someone in New York's going to say, well, that's $13 here. Someone in, in Oklahoma is going to say, well, it's $5 here. So there's no truth to that. Well, the only source of truth we really truly have that us agents kind of follow, Reagan's best practices. I've followed it for 10, 15 years. It's one of the greatest things that gives you the metrics of your agency. But here's the deal. It gives you the metrics of outcomes. It doesn't give you the metrics of the efficiency that derived those outcomes. Reagan's best practices, which I want to tell you, I still use, I buy, I love. This is just an addition to them. They look back 3 years and look at what the best practices have done and bring it forward into 2025 and say, Jason, here's what they were doing. No one is saying, here's where we need to be in 2030. Let's build to that. That is what the function of the AI manual is and why I decided to create it first. And then 2 weeks from now, around the beginning, the first week or so of July, the book will be out. And then 2 weeks later after that, the audio book. Each one of them is different. The book and the audio book will not be anything alike. The manual will not be anything like the book. The manual is showing you what can be done, giving you the frameworks, but the book is giving you more of the why, connecting it to other industries and why we're changing. And then the audio book is more of a philosophical, a way to give you the reasons why we're doing this and helping them build it as they're building it.
So the audiobook is not you or some voice talent reading the book.
Right. It will not be. It will be me, but I will be reading through the chapters, but it will be different than what the book is. People will want to read the book, the different and the audio book. I'm doing completely different. I've mapped this out over the last 5 to 6 months. Let me give you this, and I'll end with this to the next question. This is important. Okay. This right here, Tony, is my mantra, is my call to this. Jeff Roy in 2018 said, agents will not, or AI will not replace agents, but agents who use AI will replace those who don't. So many people have tried to claim that. In 2018, in my private mastermind, I have Jeff Roy has the cutout of him actually saying it.
It's fantastic.
And here's what I have to say. Listen to what we said, Tony. The AI won't replace agents, but those who use AI will replace those who don't. We automatically assume, Tony, that those who don't are willing. Meaning we assume that these that don't transform and don't use AI make that choice willingly. Maybe they just don't know how. So, Jason created the Agency Intelligence AI 2030 manual for future ready agencies. That's what it's about. It's for future ready agencies. And when we created that, we created it for the know-how. So now we reinvent and we add to the Jeff Roy saying, right? AI will not replace agents, but those agents who use AI will replace those who do not know how. This is where I'm saying by the manual, Tony, they now know how. I'm telling you from an agency owner's perspective, from a guy who is doing what they're doing, this is exactly how you do it. And this is how we've built it in our agency and how other hundreds of agencies are building it right now. The way agencies look today versus the way they look in 26 and 27, we won't even recognize it. I really, truly believe there's that much transformation coming.
Having never been an agent, yeah, I agree with absolutely everything you're saying. I went to school for computer science. I did not graduate from computer science because it turns out if you can't do math, you will never graduate from computer science. So I'm a frustrated techie. I love computers. I love technology. It turns out my brain doesn't work in the way where I can create in that space. And I ended up graduating college with a degree in management information systems. Went back for an MBA. Never worked on the IT side, but that base technology understanding helped me a lot in my career. And then through the craziness of life, I end up running this podcast whose original idea was helping young talent in our industry carrier side grow their career. We just happened to be in the right time, right place. InsurTech happens, and Nick Lamparelli ends up interviewing 150 founders, and then I take over and I interview another, I don't know, 500 and some.
Right.
Uh, so I find myself pretty much every weekday afternoon, sometimes twice, sometimes 6 times. I try to avoid those days. It's happened once, but on my average work day, at either 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm interviewing an InsurTech founder. And for a while there, a lot of them were talking about blockchain. And for the last 18 months, all they talk about is AI. To the point that I joke that if I took a shot every time they said AI, I'd need a liver transplant by now.
You would.
Uh, and,
Good
and,
call.
and I'm a non-technical guy. I'm an insurance nerd, right?
Right.
So it's hard for me to differentiate who's for real and who's not. But if that many of them are doing it, some of them are gonna get it right, and some of them I'm super impressed by. Then in my own personal usage of AI, my business partner on the recruiting side does use it extensively. Myself, I played with ChatGPT a little bit in 23, and I was not impressed. I did the whole like, who is Tony Cañas, and my girlfriend's name, and like played with it just a little bit, and I was a little bit impressed with how well it phrased my ideas when it comes to how to engage the next generation of insurance professionals. And then I moved on. Literally, like my ChatGPT uh, profile account has a few things in 23, then nothing at all in 24. And then I jumped back into it in 25. And holy crap, has it quickly in the last 2 months become a crucial way on how I run my life in general. Uh,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I have really bad memory. And one of the problems in my world is I do so many different things, and one of the types of meetings that I do is called chatwithtony.com. It's free career advice for insurance professionals. Um, I didn't take notes in those meetings, and I do like 400 those a year, and I don't remember, right? And so my business partner on the recruiting side said get Fathom, the AI assistant, to join their meeting. So I did that, and I'm using the free version. And oh, it's really cool. Like notes are really cool, and being able to go back and like ask it questions really cool. Then after like I was about to run out of my free trial when the following thing happened. Somebody jumped on a meeting, and Fathom told me, "You chatted with this person this day 2 weeks ago. Do you want to see the notes from that conversation?" I click on it, and I have the notes. I have the summary. I have the entire video. It's searchable. I can ask it questions. I immediately upgraded and bought myself an annual plan. If they offered me a lifetime plan, I'd probably buy
Yeah, I know.
that. My only complaint,
If there ever be a
yeah,
lifetime
for
plan.
real, like
That's true.
because it'll save me money in the long term, right? My only complaint is I want it in person, right? I want it integrated into my glasses so that in-person conversations also get captured because the value is so immense. And my world, I don't like. I'm a marketer. I don't have to execute, right? I have a partner on the insurance nerd side, Nick Lamparelli, that executes. I have a partner on my recruiting side that executes. In my daily life, my girlfriend is the one that executes. I really all I do is be very visible and throw ideas into the universe, right? And it is still becoming an incredible part of how I uh, my job on millennial my book on millennials came out in 2018, and I immediately said to the insurance media that I would be writing at least 2 more books: a career guide for insurance and a Gen Z, how to engage and retain Gen Z. And then 8 years went by, and I wrote zero of either book. I have the outline for the careers guide, and I ended up making YouTube videos instead. And I have the nothing for the Gen Z one. It's finally happening. How is it happening? I have the right project manager on it now, and lots of Gen AI. Now, it doesn't mean that ChatGPT is writing the book. No, ChatGPT is based on everything I've said and done in the past, and based on my prior book, feeding me ideas and holding me accountable. the power is just immense. Going back to the agency side, I can only imagine, and I already see. So on the agency side, I get calls from agents asking me for advice, and I start with, I'm not an agent, I've never been. And number two, I work with them as a recruiter. We do a ton of recruiting for account managers and some for producers. And on that side, it is incredible. And as a former underwriter, as a former marketing rep, although we call ourselves sales managers, but you guys call us marketing reps. Uh, I've worked with agencies all over the country, and it is incredible the range from the agency that is almost pen and paper, right? That barely has an AMS to the very best ran ones. And it is very obvious to me that difference is going to go from this agency is 5 times better to this agency is 1,000 times better.
Exactly. There's no better way to say exactly what you just said. You may not be an agent, but you're in this industry and you're paying attention, Tony. That's exactly what's happening. And back in 2018, I gave a presentation in front of thousands of people in Vegas, and it was called The Great Separator. And people always wondered why I never wrote a book off that. And it's because I really couldn't pinpoint exactly what was happening. It was too much was going on. Now I wrote my a bestseller back in 2014, Customer Service is Just Foreplay. It's the modern customer experience that will separate you, right? So now, but with the book that I'm reading now, which is called AI 2030 Future, it's future ready. I think it goes along the same lines of exactly what you're saying. I don't, here's the thing that let's talk about some truths that people don't want to talk about, okay? First of all, job losses. In the next 3 to 5 to 7 years, I don't think we'll see the job losses we think. In the next 7, 10 to 12 years, oh shit, we're going to see a ton of
That's how it
job
usually
losses.
goes with technology.
It's going to take a while. Everybody says this stuff's going to take a year or two. That means it's like building a house. If a contractor says it's going to take 6 months, it's going to take a year, right? It's just how it is. So if the elites say we're going to be different in 3 years, give it six, right? That's the way that I am. So here's but the thing is what though is that people think like virtual employees are going to go away. I hate to tell it to people, but it's the licensed people that are going away because the licensed people are the people who are doing the work that they shouldn't be doing. Only 20% of the time are they doing licensed work. The other 80% of the time, they're doing work that you should be paying somebody far less. You should not be paying somebody $90,000 a year to be filing papers or to be sending ID cards. Those are the ones. So let's just say this, Tony, on according to Reagan's best practices, they say that an average agency has $125,000 in revenue per employee. What's that mean? That means if they have 10 employees, okay, they're going to have 1.25 million in revenue. Each employee is going to carry about 1.25, 125,000, okay, for all the listeners. That's just important to know. So if you have an agency that has 1.2 million in revenue, you have 10 people in there. Right now, 8 of those people are licensed and probably 1 or 2 of them are a VE. In 5 years, same agency, there's going to be an owner and 1 licensed person, probably still 2 VEs, an agentic AI, and probably around 79 bots that are going to be running that agency. And the amount that we're able to run today, one person with 1 license, an owner, a licensed person, and a VE today can probably run around 2.5, 3 million in premium. They'll be able to do 20 million in premium with the same amount of work. And so that is what we talk about in the manual, though, are the new metrics that are going to be needed. Revenue per employee is an important metric. Everybody listening to me out there, if you're in the insurance industry, you know in your agency, revenue per employee is important. But no, it's not. When the employees are not doing the work, why are we spreading the revenue to them? The bots are doing the work. The VEs are doing the work. The agentic AI is doing the work. The licensed people, which is the revenue person you're using in your calculation, is just doing licensed work. So it's actually revenue per human layer. And that's one of the new 14 metrics that I deliver in the manual.
Okay.
These are metrics that people are going to look at today, Tony, and go, what the heck? But yeah, in 5 years, when we're running the agencies that we should be, and I'm just not saying this like things are going to get better. People are going to make more money and we are going to be able to have a better customer experience. We're going to have a better relationship between our carriers and the agencies due to the technology gains that are going to be happening. AI truly is not here to replace, it's here to enhance. I'm going to tell you this though, Tony. In 5 to 7 years, we will start saying, wow, the enhancing's over. We're now starting to see it replace. And I think that's a whole nother fun conversation to go down. I talk about that in my in the book that Tony, we've woke up, we've been told our whole life, especially for the last 200, 500, how many ever years, that when you wake up, you trade hours for money. That's what we've been told, right? We have kids, we train them into that. Like, hey, you're going to be going and making doing this. You're going to want to find something you like, but it needs to pay, right? Got to trade that time. So it's hard for us to comprehend that that's probably not going to be the way that it is in 15, 20, 30 years. It won't be that way. Go listen to all the smart people talk about when somebody says to them, if AI replaces jobs, what do people do? Listen to what they all say. They all say the same thing. Oh, well, we're going to have to imagine what life is to us, what's important to us. And everybody kind of looks as like, what are we going to sit around and sing Kumbaya? Yeah, pretty much. And what it means is that people, if you want to have a job, I think you can have a job, but I also think you're probably going to get paid by the federal government for $5,000 a month,
I
and you're going to make more money than you've ever made in your entire life.
I
I,
want to pause you right there. So this is like three different conversations, and they're
it
all
is, I
very interesting. No,
apologize.
no, 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 no,
Apologize.
no. I love this. I love this. But I want to pause you because okay. So when I say three different conversations, there is what does this mean to the agency owner, which is the book
Okay.
that you're putting out, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
Number two conversation, what does that mean for the staff? And number three conversation, what does it mean for society? And the society conversations are really interesting conversation. I mean, all three of them are really interesting conversations. But what if I'm not mistaken, you have openly said on Facebook, I don't know if on LinkedIn, but on Facebook, that you are fairly conservative. Uh,
Correct. Correct. That's
yep,
correct. Yes, I am.
and me, it's no secret that I'm a Bernie bro. I'm
Okay.
extremely liberal, right? And we agree on this point. We I've been saying, and I need to go back to the really old podcast episodes and see if I ever said it on audio, or if I wrote it down on an article so that I can prove that I've been saying this for years. But I've been saying in conversation for years that if AI hits the exponential curve the way that personal computing hit it in the 80s, or the way that mobile computing, your cell phone hit it in the 2010s, that we are going to have to do something like universal basic
Mhm.
income, right? And
Correct.
people have been telling me that I'm insane. And so I grew up in Costa Rica. I moved to the States 20 some years ago, been a US citizen since 2015.
Okay. I didn't
And,
know that. That's cool.
yep. And now my girlfriend tells me I'm the most American Latino ever. But because I grew up in the American school of Costa Rica, but I do have some things that are interesting from having grown up down there. And the the American worry about socialism slash communism, the fact that anything that is not like pure capitalism immediately gets attacked, especially by the baby boomers, as, oh, that's communism, right? I have a hard time imagining how this country is going to transition into an economy of abundance, but abundance owned by very few.
No, no, no. See, here's this is so important. This is so important. This is
Yeah.
so important. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're travelers. It doesn't matter if you're the Insurance Alliance. It doesn't matter if you're Chick-fil-A. It doesn't matter if any of this. Okay. You also get to stay in business. Let's say I make a 30% profit margin. Let's just say that. Okay. I eliminate most of my people. I use AI for everything. My profit margin, let's just say, goes to 90%. It's ginormous. I'm
And
making a shitload of money,
yeah,
right?
you're getting super wealthy.
But I don't have any people anymore. So the government comes to me and says, listen, that's why I think if you think of framing, we think of communism and socialism when we think of our current work environment. But when people are allowed to stay home and Jason's making 90%, the government's going to come to me and say, Jason, you were making 30. Now, since you eliminated all your people, you're making 90. Here's the deal. We're going to allow you to make 60, but we're taking 30 of that and we're going to put that in over here and we're going to have to pay people now because you have laid
In,
everybody off. And costs of everything are going to be so low that to get $5,000 a month, someone will be living better than they're making if they were making 15 to
in,
20,000 a month.
in a functional political system, I agree. I just fear that that is not the country you and I live in for the last
Okay,
10 years.
Tony, I want to ask you this then. Let's have this question then. Let's have this conversation. How does the government stop it? They can't stop the technology.
Yeah, they can't stop the technology.
So there are going to be people that are going to be
Oh
laid
yeah.
off.
Oh yeah.
And I do not believe that the government, and I'm conservative as can be, and I don't want anybody to get a handout, but I don't think it's a handout. I think you have elected to allow me to get rid of the people. I have an obligation that I just can't let people just walk around poor in rags. I have to understand, and I think most businesses who would say, wait a minute, I was making a 30% profit margin. Now my costs are less. If things are easier and I make twice as much, but I just got to give some of it away. I think most Americans are going to side with me and they're gonna be okay with that.
I hope you're right. I think my fear is generational. You're a conservative Gen Xer, maybe even an older millennial. I'm 42. I'm guessing you're about
I'm
my
an
age.
exennial. I'm 47.
Okay, so you're a conservative young Xer or exennial.
Mm-hmm.
My fear is that the boomers who are retiring but are still a giant piece of
God,
our
we got to
voting
get them out of
population
here.
will never like my 67-year-old dad. It's going to take a lot of work, and he's not a voter here in the States. He's a voter in Costa Rica, but his generation of voters, it's going to take a lot for them to understand that this is not a
Absolutely it
handout.
will. But when people, when we have 160 million jobs and all of a sudden there's only 50 million, people are going to have to say, wow, it's just going to be a different world. And here's the
I
deal.
agree.
I think generational wealth will be included. I think people involved in the insurance industry will be sitting on wealth. And the reason
Oh yeah,
is
yeah.
when the price of a shoe costs $5 to make, transfer of risk is still a cost. And
Mhm.
yes, cars may make us a little bit safer, but they're going to cost more because they have more technology. If you're in the insurance business, that's one of those industries that AI is only going to be able to take over so
Agreed.
much. But
Agreed.
at the actual product core, it
Mhm.
can't. And
and
I
and and selling it will forever continue to be a relationship game, especially commercial lines.
just has to. It may help us enhance our relationships with
Absolutely.
people, but absolutely, you're damn right it will be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we went back all over. Now let's talk about how this does affect the team. You broke it
Yes.
out beautifully. I love how you said the agency owner, team, and then society. I call this something that's very, very important because I don't think people. I've never been to college. I'm not. You and I talk about this. I educated myself. I'm a book reader. I do a lot of stuff. I know that there's forces that hurt businesses and what we call external and internal forces, right? We talk about this if you're in business class or anything. They talk about forces that can come inside or outside of your business. And when you get internal and external forces, you really could be in trouble if you're not paying attention. I want to illustrate those really quick. An external function is when you try to bring the client of today into the agency of yesterday and expect them to be with you tomorrow.
That's a very that sounds like a
That's an
very well
ex
practiced line, and it's perfect.
that's an external force.
Uh-huh.
Now here's the other side of it, Tony, though, the internal force. The internal force says that you can't bring the employee of today into the S agency of yesterday, or they will not be with you
Uh,
tomorrow.
yes. Oh my
Come
God.
on.
I want to print that in a
Hit,
like
hit him
poster
up, baby.
size, and
Tony,
like
I took a
Jason
lot of
Cass
this stuff
saying
from
that.
you in 2018. You wrote this damn book. I said, I don't know who the hell this weirdo guy is. I'm gonna read this damn shit because I love insurance. I still use your um thing in your book about young people and loyalty, how someone will go work at a place for 30 years and get the watch and say I was loyal. Someone works for you for 11 months, they leave you and they get offended that you don't think they're loyal. You opened up my eyes to a lot of the ways, the inner sides that bring up that
Thank
internal
you.
force that I'm talking about. You really truly
Thank
did.
you. It's yeah, it's been 7 years. So I'm amazed you remember that. And that one is not my original research. It's from the Center for Generational Kinetics.
Well,
But holy crap, did they
you
get it
you
right?
got it into my brain and I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And when I wrote that book, I was an underwriter. I was an underwriter at Liberty, middle market underwriter at Liberty, managing the state of Mississippi from Atlanta, Georgia. Uh,
Wow.
Now, 7 years later, I've been a recruiter for 7 years. So now, before that book was based on a lot of conversations with people going through, looking to grow their career. Now I can speak and write from the perspective of somebody who has lived both sides, who has helped agencies recruit
Mm-hmm.
and continue to advise people on their career moves, and that is becoming more and more true. If you there's One of the easy ways to lose your talent is to force them to work with really crappy technology.
Oh yeah. I listen, Tony.
Hmm?
We don't have. I want all your listeners to hear this. Any insurance agents, it usually pisses them off when I say this. We don't have a hiring problem. We don't have a hiring problem. Everybody in my agency, the oldest person, I'm 47. It's me. The second youngest is 37. The second youngest, third youngest is 32. Everybody else is in their 20s, and we got 13 people because they go tell their friends, and then we show them. I do one of the things that I'm pretty sure I learned in your book, which was, and tell me if this is wrong, because Tony, I got to tell you, I've been telling people that you said this in the book, so I hope to God I'm right if my memory serves it. It's the way that we were raised. We were raised in this is we were raised in the fact that I was told to go when I got home from school to go out and find something to do. And so I stood out on the front porch step and I'd look around and I'd think, okay, am I going to go ride my bikes? Am I going to go play in the woods? Am I going to go see Johnny? Whatever, right? And then today, when our kids come home, we do it differently. We say, oh, you get off of school at 3, you practice at 4, you got dinner at 5, you got to get bread, you got to do your homework at 7, you go to bed at 9. And agency owners today take these young guys and gals and they put them like they did on the front step and they say, go on, go get it. And they're
Uh,
sitting around going,
yes.
wait a minute.
I,
Wait a minute. What? Wait, my day. So this is why young people, please hear me, all your listeners. If you want to be successful with young people, you have to block their time. If you start them in the first year or two, you have to block their time. You have to do like mom and dad did. And I have to admit, I'd raise my son this way too. Hey, we got basketball at 4, right? So you tell them this is what you're doing from 8 to 9. This right here is what you're going to do from 9 to 11, right? And then you're going to do this. And it takes them a while, but after a while, it's just like your kids. They know at 5 o'clock that dinner was there. You knew at 7 you had to take it. It's just only at the beginning, it takes them a while to get going, but they figure it out. Now, some of that older generation be like, Jason, are you kidding me? I have to do that. If you want to have success and
yep,
you want to
yep.
be, that's what you got to do. Now, Tony, did I get that from your book? Did you go on?
I don't know if you got it from there, but you quoted it perfectly.
Okay,
And
okay.
uh, you added some stuff just now that I
No, I
agree with
probably
a
did.
1000%. The number one call I get on chatwithtony.com for career advice is claims people wanting to get out of claims. The number two call I get is young producers who were hired and like not trained at all, and like, may God have mercy on your soul, good luck.
Good luck.
And they either fail out or they end up calling me. And the worst part is I've never sold a single insurance policy in my life. So I'm trying my best to point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I point them to Carruthers, and I point them to Ryan Hanley, and I point them to.
Carruthers was instrumental in helping me because I knew that that was a thought. So how do I do that? Carruthers was one of those who taught me, Jason, here's how you teach them commercial insurance. He was instrumental in that and is a big reason why I do still have young people today. Yes, yes, yes.
Uh, so important, and that is, it seems so basic to me, and
Hmm.
yet most agencies, even large ones,
Oh, absolutely.
even the Aons and the Marshes of the world, suck at training new producers.
Hmm. It's
They
very
they
tough. It's a
they
tough thing.
they live on acquisition.
It is. It's tough. Yeah.
So, okay, so we've got like 15 minutes left.
Okay.
I am so excited to read the whole, what I'm gonna call the trilogy. So basically I did browse the manual, but I want to print it out or like put it on my
Right.
iPad and
Mhm.
like highlight it, and then the book and the audiobook. I am
Yeah.
so excited for the whole trilogy. And I don't even run an agency. Uh, right.
It'll be
So
interesting.
give me the vision. So the agencies that do this correctly,
Okay.
uh, what does their world look like in
Okay.
2030 inside their office?
Yeah, so there's going to be okay, I could give you that. I call it the 80/20 of the 80/20 rule. Okay. And the year 80 it'll be before this, but for the mass majority of agencies in 2030, 20% of all of the tasks will be done by humans. 80% will be done by VEs, VE managed bots, or autonomous bots. Okay. Of those 80%, they will be split into another 20/30. 20% will be done by VEs. The other 80% will be done by autonomous bots. So kind of splitting that in there, that's what it looks like. We talk about in the book, we have a part in there called elevated conversations. We hear this saying a lot, Tony, of, well, if your people aren't doing the work that they're not supposed to be doing, they'll have time to have better conversations with your clients.
If
And
you train them properly.
and people don't know what the hell that means. Like, what's a better conversation? You know what I mean? And for some of us, we do. I'm not skewing the ignorance of everybody. But a lot of people who, really good salesmen became insurance agency owners. They don't know some of this stuff.
That's
And
your average principle, yes.
it is your average principle. So I think so overall, though, I want people to understand here's what it is. You've got to we have since the beginning of insurance time just hired people and got them licensed. That's fine. If we were still making a dollar, $3 was minimum wage, and everybody was still making 9 or 10, and we were all making money, just keep doing it like we were doing in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, whatever. But labor has changed, markets have changed, technology has changed, all this stuff has changed. But we, as insurance agencies, still go, nope, need to hire somebody. Let's get them licensed, bring them in. We're still doing the same exact thing. Now, not a lot of us, but why does Reagan say Reagan's best practices says that if you have $1 million in revenue, 600,000 of that is going to your people? That's payroll, that's benefits, that's taxes. I don't know about you, but we use virtual employees, not in my agency. Mine's in the low 50s. People who are using bots are getting into the 40s. My prediction per the manual, and I'll show it to you and everybody who wants to know the manual, I break it into 6 revenue bands: 0 to 500,000, 500,000 to a million, million to 3 million, 3 million to 6 million, 6 million to 10 million, 10 million to 20, and 20 million and above. I break it into those revenue bands so that you can actually see where you need to be in that process. And what I show is that in the year 2030, people will be less than 20%. So that means if an agency's making $1 million, Tony, this agency over here is paying $600,000 for their people, and this agency over here is paying 200,000. Now, how are you going to compete against that? You can't do that.
Mhm.
And that is where I want to say this is where AI takes people out. It's not AI, it's those using AI who allow those dramatic swings in metrics that agents just aren't wrapping their heads around. And so, where does this go? You're going to have different types of agents. You're going to have agents who are going to build their own. That has nothing to do with size. The big agencies will actually probably they're at a disadvantage here. The smaller agencies, there's companies right now like a Gaia, like many others who are making bots that you're going to be able to buy like Netflix. You're going to be able to say, I want that one, and that one, and here's my insurance companies I want it to work with. You're going to put in your credentials, and boom, it's going to work for you. There's going to be some that are going to come and say, hey, I want to build my own routing engine because that's what it is. It's a routing logic engine. I want to build my own engine, or I want to run my own engine, but Jason, I want you or your company to create it. There's going to be those. And then there's going to be the other agents who are going to go, hey, man, I just want it to work. I want to press a button, it gets done, whatever. And I think there's a market for all three of those people to be utilized out there. And I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a lot simpler than people think. And if you're watching, listening in an agency, this is going to be your life. Phone rings. I need to make a change. AI hears that, pops open a screen. What kind of change? Auto change. You ask all the questions. When you ask the questions for the auto change, you hit submit. It repackages it into a micro project. When we repackage things into a micro project, which is one of the frameworks I talk about in chapter 3, and when you put things into a micro project, that allows you to be able to transact and measure it. So how long did it take? How was the data collected? Who collected it? What time was it collected? Now that stuff is put into an engine that now it goes to an AI agentic that assigns it to what we call a handler. There will only be 4 handlers in the future: a licensed person, a VE managed bot, and an autonomous bot. Only those 4. Everything will be routed to those, and then based on what that's triggered, that's how the claim will be done. For the next year, or the service will be done for the next year or two, the vast majority of bots will be VE managed bots. What we have found on our tests on the back end, whenever I try to make a bot do a change between my AMS and let's just say Erie Insurance, 79, 78% of the time, it works. The other 20 to 21% of the time, it stops and it'll say, hey, I've got an issue. And a VE has to go in there and has to go, oh, okay, you had this wrong. Boom. And then the bot
And
goes
they'll
back
get
to
better.
right. Yeah. So it takes a while. So I'm going to say that for a long time, a lot of bots. Also, a lot of stuff that has to be done can be done by the bot, but it can't be approved unless it's a licensed person.
Mhm.
Right. So right now, though, that's very ambiguous. That's very gray
Of course,
area in
the law is
agencies.
always behind. Yeah.
When you have logic, it will know, hey, this is a licensed thing. That can only go to this handler, right? So it actually will start to make us kind of like Teslas. People who drive Teslas actually get in less car wrecks per 100 miles than somebody who is in a gas car or
Not
whatever it
shocking.
is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. And that is the extension off of where we're going next, which I know you insurance companies are doing this, which is having licensed bots. I think how do you get past? I know that freaks everybody out, but you're going to have to get past the regulatory. How do you have a bot be licensed? Real easy. Let's say Travelers right now has a service center. They'd be silly if they're not, some of the calls that are coming in, they're putting it through a 100% through a bot, having a bot manage it, make the decisions, but before it's done, have a licensed person look at it. They're going to measure how many times that thing came through, and they're going to find out that for every 1,000 endorsements that get made by a human, 10 of them are messed up. For every 1,000 a computer does, 0.01 mess up. And that's, you're going to look at that as a regulator and go, well, wait a minute, that you could have a license per thing if it was doing something that wasn't involving a human, right? Like if the bot's talking to Tony about his insurance, I'm still old school, need to have a licensed person, needs to be a human, needs to be doing that. But once you give me all the information and it's structured, why in the heck do I need to be doing all that? I'm the one who okayed all the information to be done, you know? So anyways, I know we've went off on a tangent and
No,
all over
no,
the place, but
I
you
love that.
asked, this is what it's going to look like for agencies. And what I want to also throw out there, agencies, if you're listening, as you're talking, it's going to be stripping the information off the call. So when you're asking the name, you're not going to be typing it in. When you're asking the VIN number, you're not going to be typing it in. And not only is it stripping it off, Tony, but it's automatically at the same time going to all the websites and putting it into all of the carriers. So by the time you get done with the last question, you already have all the quotes on the left side of the screen that you can choose from. We now have the same power of State Farm. One call, one close, but with many, many different options.
Is
That's where we are.
there, uh, and we might be not have enough time to have this conversation right now, but is there a are there agencies out there that are simply not savable, that are so far behind in processes, technology, etc., that quite simply there's
Yes.
just
If you're
how do-
not going to make the investment and you're going to sell in the next 3 to 5 years, get out now. Valuations are high. People still have money. No one's freaking out. I mean, everybody right now, I'm telling you, you should sell now. And if you're in Illinois or any of the surrounding states, please call me. But no, the thing is, you really should. If
I
you're
I would
going,
agree with you.
because I'm going to tell you, this is a lot of work. And it's technology that everybody's saying is going to be great. It's going to, as I said earlier, it's going to take 12, 24, 36 months before this is really great, but it's going to take a lot of time, money, and training to get let me tell you, I'm going to end with this. This is how big this is, okay? We had vinyl records, remember? I don't remember, but maybe you do.
My dad collected them. Yeah,
Right?
probably
My
before my
mom, my
time.
wife likes them. But back in the 50s, but that, what sucked about them? When you tried to get on the road, couldn't take the vinyl record with you. So they created this thing called an 8-track. So you could get on the car and you could put it in there, right? And then they thought, you know what, this thing's big and bulky and all this. Let's use this thing called a cassette. We can use it in the house and we can use it in the car. Makes it easier, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then they changed. They said, hey, why don't we use this CD? Get more digital, get more clear. We could do this and that. And they made this easy, right? Okay. And then someone came along and transformed it into an iTunes, right? And onto my phone. Tony, every one of those things from the vinyl record to the 8-track to the cassette to the CD, those were changes in the music industry, my friend. When it went here, that was transformation. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Those other little things were just ways. Oh, we don't have to go in a manual anymore. We can rate out of a rater. Oh, we're going to be able to have email and instantly send it. We don't have to mail applications. Oh, wow, this is getting better and better. And oh, wow, we got e-signatures. These are all just been little
It's
changes that we've done.
evolution versus revolution, and
Ooh, say
you're
that again,
absolutely correct.
Tony.
So cassette to right, each of those had been just an evolution, just a natural evolution to the
Hmm.
next improvement, and then you could 1,000 songs in your pocket, right? What was the original? That's
Yeah.
not an evolution. That was a radical exponential change.
It's
It's a revolution.
transformation. There's a
It's a
difference between
transformation. Yeah.
change and transformation. It
Yes.
is transformation. I'm trying to get the word out, Tony. We have to transform. And
And
and and, and Jason, why do you spend your time doing this? Well, it's very simple. This industry has taken me places that I've never been. I places I never thought I'd go. I've met people that I never thought I'd meet, and I've given my family the life that I never thought that I could give them. And in 20 to 30 to 40 years, whenever I sell my agency or my kids sell my agency, when they sell it to somebody else in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, that person's going to have the same feeling that I have about this industry. And that's what makes it worth it. And that's why I want people to know that you need to pay attention. This is a big hurricane. Do not be those of Katrina who are like, oh, yeah, they always mention there's hurricanes coming. No, I'm telling you, this is the last thing I want people to think about. This isn't changing our industry. This is changing humanity.
yep, yep.
That's how big this is.
I
It's changing humanity.
I agree with you, and that is a beautiful mic drop. I do want to add, even though it's not as big of a mic drop as the one you said, because I agree. Um, there is such a thing as people still buy vinyl records. People, in fact, people still make vinyl records.
It's true.
People still buy classic cars, right?
It's true.
People still buy, especially outside of the US, cars that are manual, right? Manual transmission.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's true.
and I believe that even in a world dominated by self-driving cars, we will always have some cars that people there are people that like to drive. Yep.
Hmm.
There is a nostalgia to some things. I am pretty sure nobody will use an agency that is decades behind the time out of nostalgia.
That's right.
I
They
think
will.
that is, and I don't, and I hope that no agency is thinking that. But I do think it's important to say it to complete the
Very well
metaphor.
said, Tony. Very well said.
So Jason, thank you so much for your time. This is
Great time.
redunk excited. I'm excited to read the trilogy, read and listen.
Yep.
I'm excited for indie tech, and thank you for doing this work. This is
No, appreciate it, man.
very important for our industry.
Yep. No, it is. Thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate you coming to our events, supporting us and supporting the industry as well, man. Thank you.
Let me know release date of the book when you know it, and
That's right.
the correct link so that
And
people.
AI Indie Tech, AIIndyTech.com. We have Indie Tech going on in January 27th, 28th, 29th. Tony will be there.
Yes,
It is AI
yes,
Indie Tech, INDIETECH.com.
yes. People, I go to insurance conferences for a living, basically,
You
30 to
do.
40 of them a year. Okay. I did not do Inditech this January, but I did do it last year in what was it, like August?
Yeah, no. There hasn't been one since you came last
Oh,
one.
okay,
No.
okay, okay.
Yep. I
Okay.
skipped 2025 and just went right in.
Perfect.
So
I thought it
no,
was just
no,
me.
you haven't missed it, Tony.
Perfect. Inditech is a fantastic conference.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you're moving it to the spring, and I'm glad that you're moving it to down south.
Yeah.
And but really, if you are an agency owner, if it remains priced similarly to the last time you did it, like it is well priced, like it is just the content.
August 1st, we go on sale for the first 3 days. It's 99 bucks.
You're giving it away.
Yeah, for the
Giving it
first 3 days,
away.
I am. Yeah, that's right. I want
Uh,
people there. And we can only have 400 people, only 400 this year. Okay. We have a limit to it. Yep.
all right. All right.
Yep.
Jason,
Hey, I appreciate it, Tony. Thank you very
anytime.
much, buddy.
Thank you so much for your time. See you around.
See you, man.
Bye.